August 27th, and the verdict was as follows. Count 1, serious injury by vehicle, guilty. Count 2, serious injury by vehicle, guilty. Count 3, vehicular homicide in the second degree, guilty. Count 4, vehicular homicide in the second degree, not guilty. Count 5, speeding, guilty. Count 6, reckless driving, guilty. Pursuant to OCGA 17-10-2A1, I'm doing the pre-sentence hearing today, and the only issue here today is to determine the punishment to be imposed for the charges for which Mr. Scott was found guilty. The range of punishment for each count is as follows. Count 1, serious injury by vehicle. That is set by the Official Code of Georgia 40-6-394B, providing that a person convicted of violating that subsection shall be guilty of a felony and shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 1 year, nor more than 15 years. Count 2, serious injury by vehicle, is also controlled by that same statute, and a person convicted of violating that subsection shall be guilty of a felony and shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 1 year, nor more than 15. Vehicular homicide in the second degree, that punishment is under OCGA 17-10-3, providing that a person convicted of that offense shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and punished by a fine not to exceed $1,000 or by confinement for a total term not to exceed 12 months, or both. Count 5, speeding, that is also a misdemeanor, punishable by a fine up to $1,000 or confinement for a total term not to exceed 12 months, or a combination of fines and incarceration. And count 6, reckless driving, and that sentence is pursuant to OCGA 40-6-390B, providing that a person convicted of such offense shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and punished by a fine not to exceed $1,000 or by confinement up to 12 months, or both. I believe that we have some merger issues such that count 6, the reckless driving, would merge into counts 1 and 2. Is that correct?
That is the defense's way, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Judge.
All right, so the reckless driving merges into the serious injury by vehicle for purposes of sentencing by operation of law.
Yes.
All right, and then count 5, the speeding, merges into count 3, the vehicular homicide in the second degree by operation of law for purposes of sentencing.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so today at the sentencing hearing, I'll hear additional evidence and extenuation, mitigation, and or aggravation of punishment, including the record of any prior criminal conviction, any pleas of guilty or nolo of the accused, or the absence of any prior conviction and pleas. After the verdict was reached, the defense requested a pre-sentence investigation. I issued an order for that to be completed and forwarded it to the Department of Community Supervision. Alexander Holbrooks was assigned to conduct the investigation for DCS. He provided that report to my office and also sent that report prior to today to the state and to the defense. I also was provided the following by Investigator Holbrooks: the defendant's driving history, his GCIC history, the other documents that he had viewed in looking at in reaching his investigation and report, and a table of sentences of current Georgia inmates serving time for serious injury by vehicle on that conviction. I've also received multiple letters on behalf of the state and or the victims and on behalf of Mr. Scott. Those were either sent directly to my office from members of the community and or by the attorneys for the state and or Mr. Pilgrim. Just for purposes of the record, I'm going to go ahead and list the individuals that sent the letters that I am talking about. On behalf of the defendant, I received the following letters: M. Parton, Elmira Barrow, Samantha Thacker, Chad Long, Martha Long, Steve Holcomb, Sharon Sewell, Sherry Taylor, Gunnery Sergeant Lyndon Smith, Ron Mosier, Austin Scott, Kaylee Murray, Amber Turner, Tiffany Robinson, Sean Crooks, Stephen Sapp, Robin Scott, Martha Schiffman, Brandy Scott, Kenneth Fruits, Jeremiah Riley, Robert Angelella, Staff Sergeant Ryan Clay, Major Jackson Smith, Doug Ralston, Dr. Mark Gustafson, John Ivy, Jordan McLean Duke, Tiffany Creel, Gerard McIntyre, Stephen Payne, Joey Wilson, Malvarine Willoughby, Rusty Tyler Holcomb, Michael Todd Land, Dr. Dustin Addison, Karen Wild, Patricia Rainey, John Correa, Tommy Rainey, and Robbie Rainey. I received statements also on behalf of the victims and their families and other members of the community. Tracy Tatum, Travis and Deborah Wall, Sarah Finken, Christy Causey, Teresa Clark, Ansley Dutton, Dr. Julie Evenson, Zachary Evenson, Dennis Greenwald, Kelly Nye Hinkson, Courtney B. Hunter, Ashton Klutz Travitz, Dee Korth, Brenda Lawson, Shelley Norton, Molly Phillips, Amy Riley, Bailey St. Germain, Holly Stewart, Larry Strickland, and Tori James. I have reviewed all of the letters and all of the documents and the pre-sentence investigation report from investigator Cole Brooks. So at this time, would either party like to make an opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, I'm just saying, I'll remarks.
Just for purposes of the record and to make sure that I am correct in this, there are no pretrial notices or any 1710, 7A or C that apply in this case. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, before we start with the evidence from the state and or the defense, I said it earlier, we are pretty packed in here, and we have lots of law enforcement who are present. The law enforcement is here to maintain order and safety. With all of that being said, I cannot imagine the grief, the hurt, or the anger that any of the people in this courtroom may feel. The victim families, certainly I understand that you may be feeling a lot of emotions. I cannot imagine any of that. I understand that the emotions in this case are high. When anyone comes forward to give me a statement, I have asked the deputies to follow a certain order to get to this podium. Anybody giving any oral statement today, if you will direct those to me, and then we can make sure that we don't have any disruptions or any issues in the courtroom today. I have a job to do, so I need to make sure that everything is maintained so that that job can get done. When the witness approaches the stand, if it is from the victim or anyone the state calls, if you will please come behind the state's table and come to the podium. Anyone from the defense, if you will please come in front of the state's table and reach the podium so that you can be sworn in. I will swear in every one of the witnesses, and before you begin your statement, please state your name clearly and spell it for the court reporter, and then you can go ahead and make your statement. All right, the state can go ahead to present any evidence at this time.
Your Honor, if you would permit, I know you're aware this is a long time coming. We do have several folks that would like to address the court.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone you would like that wants to verbally address the court, they are all welcome to make their statement.
I would like to start with Kelly Lindsay.
Good morning. Tap it and let's see if it's on. I guess it's on. You can pull it towards you. Good morning. Good morning. All right, Ms. Lindsay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the statement you give is the truth and nothing but the truth? You can lower your hands.
My name is Kelly Lindsay, it's Kellie, Lindsay. I am the mother of Kylie Lindsay. First, I'd like to say thank you for everything you have done. Thank you to the state for the great job they have done. And then I would like to address A.J. Scott and ask him what he was doing 10 years ago today. Because I was burying my daughter today, 10 years ago, because you killed her. With that being said, the lack of remorse, the lack of empathy that we have seen. The social media posts that we have been shown from a grandmother blaming myself and Leslie Woods, Isabella's mother, for the death of our own daughters is disgusting. And she should be ashamed. I'm sorry.
It's okay, take your
Just
time.
really hard. This has been 10 years. It's been a long time coming. AJ abused his power as a trooper as well as when he was mayor. He could have done the right thing when he became mayor and got the power that he got. Instead, he chose to have his police officers pick him up out of different counties because he was too drunk to drive, arguing with people at a bar, unzipping his pants, seeing people in a park that weren't there. The list goes on and on. Do I feel sorry for some of his family? I do, because I know what they're losing. But they get to see him again, and we don't get to see our daughters. We have to go to their grave and go to a headstone. So they're blessed that they get to still see him. I know a lot of people will, on his side, may discuss how he was a Marine. I thank you for his service. My son was also in the Air Force, and my son had to leave a month after this happened to go serve in Japan and grieve alone, all alone for 5 years. And I just hope that you take that into consideration and that the court sentences him accordingly to what he has done and what he has put our families through. And, thank you.
All right, can I say something?
Yes, sir. You'll just raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the statement you give is the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You can lower your hand.
Well, Lindsay, ALLEN, LINDSEY, Al's father. And if I can, I really just had one question for you. Why did you not get paid a speeding ticket, reckless driving, drag us through this? Make us see things we should never seen.
Twice. You put us in this trial twice, that we've had to see these disgusting pictures of our children.
No backdoor goes on the way through it. You smile at me, smirk at me every time y'all two get away with lawless things that you've done. And I don't understand how a man does that. So, can you tell me why you didn't pay the $2,000 and let us all go home? We paid you that night to protect us. And instead, you was out there breaking the same laws that you was imposing on the citizens and the taxpayers this winter. And felt no remorse and no accountability that shouldn't have brought upon you. You were guilty of nothing. And I don't understand. So you not feel any guilt for what you done?
You didn't kill our daughter. You killed our daughter. You may not have been found guilty for our daughter, but you killed our daughter because of your speeding and your choices that night, and you need to face the consequences. I don't understand how you looked at the same pictures that we looked at and didn't see your own daughter's face. Because it could have been your daughter too. You should be ashamed right there.
I just hope that this goes to show other troopers, other police. We pay y'all to do a job, that's to protect us and serve us. Well, it's not to hold us accountable, but the same laws that you're out here breaking, and think you're above it. Because this is what happened. That was my only daughter, and he took something beautiful and wonderful and took her from this world. And they can't give her back. Do I think anyone in the prison is gonna change any of this? I don't. But I hope y'all find it for him and whatever y'all feel.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Lindsay.
Dr. Julie Evanson.
Can I use my notes for my phone?
Good morning. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the statement you give is the truth and nothing but the truth? You can lower your hand. And just for the record, I believe you asked if you can use the notes on your phone, and that is fine.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Julie D. Evanson, Julie, Evanson, EAVEN, S-O-N. I'm going to read a letter that I wrote to Your Honor. Your Honor, I'm trying to put into words exactly how I want to express myself in a manner in which I remain focused and respectful. I am writing you as the grieving godmother of Kylie Lindsay, whose life has been forever changed by the senseless acts of an individual who was sworn to protect and serve someone like Kylie. Kylie was taken from us as a result of the reckless behaviors of AJ's life. And never, ever did this man ever show an ounce of remorse or sorrow for his actions. However, these are things you already know about AJ's life. So please allow me to share Kylie Lindsay with you in my eyes. On March the 24th of 1998, I stood alongside Kelly Lindsay as she prepared to deliver our girl. Kelly and I have been best friends since we were about 10 years old and have been blessed to share so many special times together, such as the birth of our children. Kylie Hope was going to be the only girl, as Kelly had one son, Alec, and I had one son, Cameron, and we soon have another one, Zach, who also wrote you a letter. The moment that Kylie was born, we all knew just how much she was going to impact our lives. She was absolutely beautiful. She had a big, beautiful smile, blonde hair, incredible blue eyes like her daddy, and incredibly strong-willed. Special moments throughout Kylie's life went by very quickly. From running wild with her brothers, to finding her own self and her own identity in this world. Years later, I moved to Middle Georgia, about 100 miles from Kylie. And one of the things that I look back on now are the moments that I missed moving so far away. On the morning of September 27th of 2015, I woke up to a horrible stomachache. I had no idea why. I was woken from such a deep sleep with immediate pain, but I would soon find out. I went into the kitchen to get some medicine for relief, but that wasn't coming very quickly. So I sat in the darkness trying not to wake my family and pulled my phone up on Facebook. Immediately I seen a post from one of Kylie's family members to quote unquote pray for our girl. And I felt this sense of pure fear from head to toe, not knowing who our girl was even referring to. I sent her a message and she informed me that Kylie had been in a horrible car accident and that the family was gathering at Atlanta Medical. I woke my husband, jumped in the car, and traveled nervously in the passenger seat, not knowing what was lying ahead. It was raining and very dark, still dark outside when we arrived. I had no idea where to park, so as my husband slowed in front of the front door, I jumped. I immediately seen Kelly and just jumped from the car. Wrapping my arms around her, I still didn't know what was going on. Kelly looked at me in the face and said, "Julie, I need you to go in there. I can't do it." And I said, "I need to go in there for what?" She said, "I need you to go in there because I can't look at my baby laying there." Of course, I went back into the room where Kylie had Nancy laid, still hooked up to life-saving devices, looking just as beautiful as she did the morning of March 24th of 1998. I kissed our girl. I kissed her on the forehead, and I walked back to her mother and just held her as she tried to make sense of exactly what had just happened. In the coming days, there was a blur. Everything was a blur. Sadness, anger, determination, hate, pure hate. Forgiveness, those were just a few of the emotions that we felt the last 10 years. As I've had the joy of watching my own children graduate from high school and college and get married and live their life to the fullest, I've also had to watch my best friend grieve her baby as she didn't get to experience those things. I watched her mourn her daughter as she laid over her casket. I watched her walk across the stage to get Callie's high school diploma when her head held so high. I watched her nurture the final resting place of her baby girl. And I watched her show this unwavering shield of strength and fierce dedication to seek justice for the girls. We were robbed of hearing Kylie's laughter, seeing her smiles, hearing her voice, or holding on to her when she was scared. No birthday parties, no tucking her into the bed. We didn't help her through any heartaches or watch her experience everything in life that she should have had the experience and the chance to be able to do. I shared this with you because A.J. Scott's reckless driving that caused this tragedy has left an irreplaceable hole in the lives of so many. His actions robbed Kylie and the fidelity of their futures and robbed us of the chance to watch them grow. This feeling of emptiness is something that no one should ever have to endure, especially at the hands of someone that was supposed to protect them. Scott's reckless behaviors and disregard for others' lives continue to be demonstrated for the last 10 years. From bar scenes to family establishments, he's displayed inappropriate behaviors and absolutely no remorse for his actions. I beg of you to give A.J. Scott the punishment that he deserves. He deserves to never get to experience life like Izzy or Cullen. Scott's out of prison cell. Please consider the safety of others in this world and in this community when it comes to putting him behind bars for he deserves to do. Thank you, Pastor, for your reason.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the statement you give is the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
My name is Leslie. L-E-S-L-I-E, W-R-O-D-S. Isabella Chinchilla was my only daughter. She had a kind soul. She snored, she had dreams, she had goals. I didn't get to see her graduate from high school. I don't get to see her get married. Have children, grandchildren. She had goals. She had dreams. And instant, you took it away. Not one time. Have you ever apologized? Not that that would matter now. Her daddy's in the military sealift command. He was stationed in China. It took him 2 days to get here. But to see his little girl dead. He came home maybe 2 months out of the year. Serving our country. You were here to protect us. But you think you're above the law. And it's sad that it took our girls to bring you down. And all because of his careless act. We have to do this for the rest of our lives. Judge, I'm begging you for the maximum. Because once after he gets out in 30 years, he gets to live his life. We have a life sentence. He just gave me a life sentence. My husband passed away, my ex-husband, so I lost my daughter. I lost everything I had. But he can't even say he's sorry as narcissistic. And you get what you deserve, and every time those gates close, and every time they open, it's for Isabel and Kylie, Dylan, and Ben. You get what you deserve.
Statement you give us the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Listen,
Amen.
I was 18. I was done law. I was 18. My life hasn't changed. Ever since then, it's never been the same. I cry almost every night. Because of this man right there. He doesn't do anything but smirk at me, smile at me. He doesn't care anything but himself. You put yourself where you're at, and you deserve every bit of it. And you're the biggest liar I've ever met in my life. You are. You are. I know, shake your head yes, because you are. And I hope you lose every client you have. Yes, sir. Smile, smile, smile. It's funny, ain't it? Like you're seeing a young man cry that lost all of it.
Please comments to me. I understand this is very emotional.
I got victim money for 10 years. I can't
You
even
need
get
to
them.
address your statement to me.
Keep it to yourself. We'll let you get it out.
It's the truth. And I've only told the truth. This man has no remorse. Matt Courtroom is a liar and a selfish person just like he is not. I cry every night. I was 18. It changed the whole course of my life. I could never be the same. Ever. It's hard to even eat. It makes me sick to my stomach. And all he had to do was say sorry. All he had to do was say sorry. Yes, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you.
So nothing further. That's kind of squeaky, I'm sorry.
I couldn't hold
Do you have any statements that you're asked to read or anything like that, other than what I've already been given? All right, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Pilgrim, on behalf of the defense, you can go ahead and present the evidence in extenuation and mitigation.
Thank you, Honor. Call Mr. Linda Smith.
Do you swear or affirm the statement you give is the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I would.
You can lower your hand.
Would spell your first and last name for the court.
Lyndon, Lyndon, Smith, Smith.
Okay, Mr. Smith. I'm asking a few questions. How do you know A.J. Scott?
I met AJ in 2016 at church. We both served in the Marine Corps. I didn't know him. His mother wanted me to meet him. And she introduced me on Mother's Day of 2016.
And what do you want to tell the court about A.J. Scott or whatever you want to say?
Thank you. This is a terribly tragic situation we have found ourselves in. I'm extremely, extremely sad for the families that have lost. We both served in the Marine Corps. I served from 1974 to 2000. AJ didn't, Corporal Scott did not enlist until 2007, served until 2011. But that Marine went into combat ultimately for our freedom, for America's freedom, in Iraq and Afghanistan. And as a result of that combat, the VA has diagnosed him with combat-related PTSD, which he lives with daily. This accident has compounded that. I've seen that. I suffer some. I didn't know of the accident until a couple of years after. When I drive by that spot, I suffer for these families. And all because I know AJ suffers. And I think of that, and it's a terrible, terrible situation. AJ and I served in the community. We served in community events together. We traveled together to help get out the vote. He wanted Georgia to be a great place to live, and that obviously would be all of our desires. We worship Jesus at the same church. We used to pick up his daughters for Sunday school. We spoke on the phone weekly, had lunch often. He always, always asked me how he could help. Is there anything I can do for you? I promise you, A.J. Scott lives with remorse, tremendous remorse over this event. He's a dad. He hurts for these other families. He has had to deal with accusations everywhere he has gone. He could not worship Jesus Christ at church without an occasional confrontation. So he didn't come as much the last couple of years. That was a tremendous burden to our heart. AJ served his nation for 4 years as a Marine, served the Georgia State Patrol for the years before the accident, and he served his community. Then became mayor of Buchanan. The man has a servant's heart. He is a good man. He is a man of integrity. He still has a dependent family. I think 3 girls are still at home. I need to say there are 3 places in the Old Testament the Bible talks about cities of refuge. Joshua 20, Deuteronomy 10, and Numbers 35 talk about a place someone can go to be protected from vengeance, and after a time be free to return home. The scriptures invite us to consider human error when there's no malice intended. the Bible asks for compassion and accidental death and injury. I've learned in my life, Jesus Christ must absolutely be in the middle. That's what made me a successful career in the Marine Corps, a defender of freedom, like that man was. Erica Kirk forgave the assassin of her husband Charlie about a week after the murder. What I've learned, and she knows, is that forgiveness heals. Judge, I ask you to have compassion on Corporal Scott. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
John, we would call Ms. Robin Scott. His name.
Do you swear or affirm the statement you give us the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Thank you.
If you would please state your name, spell your first and last name.
Robin Scott, ROBIN, SCOTT.
Ms. Robin, tell the court what you want.
I'm sorry.
Tell them wherever you want to say.
Okay, first of all, I want to ask if there's anyone in this room that has never sped. Has anyone ever not gone over the speed limit? Because that's all my son did, was went over the speed limit. The verdict came back different, but all he was speeding. I take that for him. And I tell you, that young man would do anything for anybody in this room. Anybody. And I just plead with you that his sentence is minimal, because he does have a family. And I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I pray every night that y'all find peace in your heart, because the only way you're going to get through
You had
this
10 years to address that,
is
and
to
not
find
today.
Jesus.
She's gonna address
Anyway, anyone will find peace in their heart is to go to God and give it all to God. That's the only way I'm making it through this, because he is a fine young man. A fine young man. Has he done wrong in his life? Who hasn't? I know I have. I know I have. But I just hope and pray. And we're at your mercy. Because he is a father. His children need him. I need him. The community needs him. Everyone makes mistakes. And that's why it's called an accident. If he had gone out and maliciously murdered somebody, yes, give him the max. But he didn't. He was out there to protect people. And he was speeding. And so, I earnestly, I pray for all involved. Every day. And I know their family has suffered, and I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. But look at our family. We've suffered. We still suffer. I mean, he deserves the minimal. And I know I'm his mother, but I know him better than anybody, except for the rest of our family. And I just beg your mercy, because he is a good man. Lord forbid to go back and look at my history, but I'm a changed woman.
because of God. And I do pray that everyone in this courtroom, I can't emphasize that enough, lay their life down before Jesus Christ. And then forgiveness can be found in each heart. So I beg you, Judge, have mercy on us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We would call Ms. Martha Ship.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the statement you give is the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm
Should
Martha
we-
Ship.
There you go. Say your first and last name. Thank you.
MarthaSchiffian. Two Christians, I'm sure you saw that. And we're God's dear family, but I'm here to address you, to talk to you. In all of my grandson's 36 years, I never thought I would be before a courtroom begging and pleading for leniency for him. As you're aware, this is from a wreck from September the 26th, 2015. My heart and my family's heart, and most of all the heart of my grandson, aches for the family of the two beautiful girls, Kylie and Isabella, whose lives were lost that night. We all pray for them daily and are deeply sorry for the pain this accident has caused. We also have the terrible grief of losing a grandson in this same kind of accident. We had to find forgiveness. We did not take the man to court. We found forgiveness for him. From the time AJ was 7 years old, he wanted to be a policeman. He wanted to serve his community at that age. You know what? He went on to find his dream as an American Marine. He served our country honorably in combat zone. He was the first in Malaysia and also served in Fallujah, the worst wars there was. He came home a decorated Marine, not just a Marine, a decorated Marine. His service left him with more than decorations. It left him with horrible PTSD. The horrors he witnessed in war never left him, and his tragic accident resulting in the death of Kylie and Isabella and the injuries of Ben and Dylan is with him every day and every night. He has horrible nightmares. Horrible. It will always be with him, no matter where he is at home after he serves his time or whether he's in jail. This is going to be with him all his life. It's something that cannot be taken back. Following his service in the Marines, AJ decided he wanted to be a state patrol. He still wanted to protect. That's all he ever wanted to do was protect. While we all acknowledge mistakes made on that night, I know the single event does not define the character of a man who dedicated his life to public service. Even after the devastating setback, AJ's desire to serve his community remained strong. He was elected mayor of Buchanan twice. He served with utmost distinction. During his administration, his record as mayor was exemplary, and the positive impact he had on his town was well known. He has continued to be a productive citizen, contributing to his community in every capacity available to him. AJ has also been a devoted family man, raising 3 daughters and 1 son. He is the sole provider for his disabled wife and 2 daughters that still live at home and depend on him. He has a job with Frank Norman waiting on him. And your consideration of leniency, he can return to being a productive citizen. Please consider the full scope of A.J. Stott's life and character, his record of service, his dedication to his family, and most of all, his desire to continue contributing to his community. He still has a chance to be good. I beg you not to take that chance away from him.
This terrible accident, Your Honor, was a momentary lapse of judgment. It was not malicious. He did not set out to do this. We've all said, just like his mother said. He is a good person who has given so much of himself to God, his country, his community, and his family. I beg for your compassion and your mercy. He's always been my best friend. Everybody knows that. He's always been there for me. I humbly beg the court compassion and mercy. He has always endured immeasurable trauma in his life, and he now lives with the knowledge that all actions combined led to a tragedy he wishes he could undo, but he can't. I beg for mercy. God shows us mercy. Nothing can ever take away that night and the horrible dreams he lives with it. Please don't take him away from us. Please give us mercy as God gives us mercy. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would call Mr. Mike Land.
Raise your right hand. Yep, there you go. Do you swear or affirm that the statement you give is the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Just please state your name and spell your
Michael
first name.
Lynn, I'm retired Sergeant First Class of Georgia State Patrol.
And spell your first and last name, so forth.
MICHAELLAND.
Thank you.
I didn't prepare anything today. I met AJ in summer of 14. I was a supervisor prior to this event and during this event. There's a quote I always fall back on, and I'm not sure who said it, and I'll paraphrase it, may mess it up. But it says, "We sleep peacefully at night in our beds because hard men step forth and prepared to visit violence on those who oppose us." That's a good quote, but it doesn't encompass everything we have to deal with as law enforcement. Back when I started in law enforcement, it was a little different, but over the last 10 years, it's changed dramatically. The entire sentiment towards law enforcement now, it's just not what it used to be. But anyway, that statement doesn't talk about the long nights we have to work, the days we have to get up on our off days and go to court, the late, early, midnight shifts we have to work where we get maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep. The demand from our supervisors, the demand from the public, the demand from everybody coming at us all at once. We're asked to do a job that's more or less thankless. Mr. A.J. Scott I had different types of troopers. I had loud troopers, I had quiet troopers, I had lazy troopers, and I had hard-working troopers. And I think that's true in any line of work you have. A.J. was a quiet, hard-working trooper that never questioned authority. He done what he was told. He was eager to get out. Oftentimes he'd work over on his shift to help out. Post-war Villarica works in most wrecks in the entire state. It was just a constant battle to stay up to speed. And the expectations of the public and the supervisors for troopers and law enforcement in general is a lot higher than it is for the general public. And I understand that, and I think we're required of that. I never had any issues out of AJ. I know there's rumors he had a bunch of at-fault wrecks. To my memory, the only fault wreck he had was a chase one day, and a lady turned into him while during the chase. Other than that, AJ has no criminal history. He had good reviews of the state patrol. He was always a hard-working public servant, and I was proud to be called a supervisor. Judge, all I'm here today for is just to ask leniency on him. He's got a family. I mean, there's no winners in this situation. And I've prayed hard about it. And Judge, I just ask you to have leniency on him. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You know, there'll be no other witnesses other than what's saying something to make them happy. That's all we have for witnesses.
Does Mr. Scott wish to say anything? He's certainly not required to, but if he would like to, he may.
Your Honor, I have a letter I intend to read at the end.
Okay. Any rebuttal from the evidence from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, will the attorneys approach, please? All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give us the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
All right, you can lower your hand, and please state your name.
Alexander Holbrooks, ALEXANDERHOLDVROOKS.
And Officer Holbrooks, are you employed with the Georgia Department of Community Supervision?
Yes, ma'am.
And after I signed the order for a pre-sentence investigation, were you assigned to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you prepare a report?
I did.
And the information provided in your report and your investigation, is all of that true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
And you personally spoke with all the people that you interviewed, that you included in this report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you also gave a recommendation, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what was your recommendation?
The recommendation was 20 years, serve 10, special condition to not serve any kind of council or administrative law enforcement position, and community service determined by you, judge, and restitution that would go towards medical bills for the victims. That amount would also be determined by you.
All right, and in reaching that recommendation, did you consider all of the interviews, the GCIC, the driving history, and all of those things?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you also review individuals who are currently incarcerated in the state of Georgia on similar vehicular homicide and/or serious vehicle by injury charges?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you include that in your analysis and reaching your recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
And what you recommended, is that in line with what other individuals are currently serving in the state of Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have been present for this hearing so far today, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anything you have heard today caused you to change the recommendation that you put in your written report?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any questions from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Officer Holbrook. You can- All right, so under Georgia law, on the argument, the state has the right to open and conclude. Does the state wish to open and conclude, or just do a conclusion?
We'll reserve that.
Okay, all right, then, Mr. Pilgrim, you may go ahead with your argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Your Honor, as I have said before, there are no winners in this case, only losers. That stands the same today as I said before. I have been involved in this case for approximately 10 years as well. It has many, many twists and turns that makes this case very unusual, unique. Today being no different. Not that it matters, but I'm a father from children, from a grandfather. I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter. The idea of losing a child before we leave this world is something nobody should ever have to live with. It's something nobody should have to deal with. It's not something they should have to grieve over loss of children. And I cannot imagine that. I hope I never do, or nobody else ever will. But to the facts of the case, Your Honor, we're here today, and we all take an oath as lawyers, as judges, to seek justice, no matter where it is, no matter how hard it is to find it, no matter how it attempts to evade us. Justice is what our purpose is, it's what our oath is, it's what we're supposed to do every day. Begin to ask yourself, what is justice? What is justice? I've made some notes here, come up with something I think is justice is an ethical, philosophical idea. That people are to be treated, all people, regardless of their job, their race, their religion, their age, their sexual orientation, their income level, impartially, fairly, properly, and reasonably, by the law and by the arbitrators of the law. That is what justice is. And I know Your Honor goes to conferences and has attended events where they talk through types of justice. And there are essentially 4 types of justice in our American legal system. There's distributive justice, which has to do with who gets what. There's procedural justice, as on the person on trial, do they receive or be treated fairly through the process. There's restorative justice, relationship to rightness, is what you're doing, making things right. Then there is punitive, or punishment justice. And I think the court, including yourself, and the court has to decide how to balance those. How do you balance that? There is nothing that you or I or anyone else can do, no amount of money, no amount of time, will hurt, will cure the hurt of the families and the loss of children. Nothing. So we can never make that equal. We know that. But I do want to mention a little bit about A.J. Scott as a person. Prior to this accident, I did not know A.J. Scott. I didn't know his family. I didn't know anything about him. I was asked soon after the accident to begin representing, and I have for 10 years. I did so proudly. In my line of work, Your Honor, in the 20 plus years I've done this, I have met a lot of bad people, psychopaths, evil people, people who have evil and hate in their heart, who acted maliciously. That is not A.J. Scott. Never had him. There are people where you would be concerned being in a room with them. That's not A.J. Scott. And I think we have to look not just the snapshot of his life, which is this accident and what happened that night. We have to look at him as a human being. And if you look at him at age 18, Your Honor, he joined the military and he served our country. No one made it, no one forced him, he was not drafted, he did so out of obligation. At 22 years old, he joined State Patrol to serve the people of this state. In 2015, he was elected to City Council and ultimately mayor twice the City of Buchanan, serving the people of Buchanan consistently. His entire adult life has been serving in the service of others. His entire adult life, from the time he was many times we've said in courtrooms, yours and others like it, and we hear people who do nothing for others their whole life. They've done nothing for anything but themselves their entire life. And that's not what AJ's got. He is not that. He has served people his entire adult life. More than anybody else I know, as a matter of fact. But his entire adult life has been his service of others. And Your Honor, what that matters is up to you, but I think it counts for something. But AJ is a person I would be happy to have as a neighbor, as a family member. And I don't say that about a lot of my clients, but I will say about AJ Scott. You know, when we talk about impartiality and we talk about fairness of the court system, I did, and I'll put on the record today, about, let's see, it was on September 14th on Sunday afternoon. I pulled all of the cases that involve vehicle homicide and serious injury of a motor vehicle in Carroll County for the last 10 years. Of those cases, many of them involve other aggravating circumstances such as DUI, fleeing from the police, leaving another crime scene. But I pulled out 12 cases, Your Honor, and I sent them the dispositions to you, and I sent them to the state as well. Your Honor, in those cases, the average was a 13.41 sentence with 2.8 years to serve. That is the average. And again, we're treating people fairly. We're not treating people disproportionately because of their job, or their experience, or their age, or the lack of being in love. And Your Honor, in this case, you read prior to us being witnesses that the maximum sentence for Mr. Chinchilla was 12 months in jail. That is the maximum sentence. So if we carry the theme of consistency and fairness, how would it be consistent or fair to sentence him to more incarceration for the injury of two young men who stand here today and have lived and will continue to live, versus the death of Mr. Chinchilla? It wouldn't matter. It would not. And for that reason, Your Honor, I've asked that the court sentence my client to 15 years to serve 36 months in jail. And Your Honor, that is consistent, that is fair, that is impartial, that is based on facts and evidence. Mr. Chinchilla's life and the loss thereof should not be treated any lighter than the injuries to the young men, nor should their injuries be treated any more than the death of Mr. Chinchilla. Your Honor, I'd like to close with a reading of a letter I have spoken to Mr. Scott. I don't know how many times through the 10 years that I've known him. He has expressed regret to me. He has expressed regret what happened that night, the decisions he made. But I'll read his letter, but he was ordered when he originally got bond not to make any statements, not to contact the victim. And my advice, as I would advise all of my clients the same way, not to do that. Don't reach out to the victims, don't reach out to their families, because that can be seen as harassment, it can be seen as intimidation. Ultimately, result in the revoking of their bond. But I do want to read this letter. Mr. Scott's given to me. He feels that he just can't get through reading this letter, so I'm going to read it for him. From AJ Scott. I'm sorry for my role in this accident, resulting in the deaths of Callie and Isabel. I really relived that night, every day for the last 10 years, and I will to the day that I die. I mean it when I say I wish it was me that died that evening, not them. I wish they were living their lives that they deserve right now. The world would be a better place if that were the case. I know you as a family have boys in your hearts that will never be cured. I'm sorry for that. My two youngest daughters are now Isabel and Kylie's age, and I can't imagine the pain of losing them. I understand your hatred of me, and I hope one day you can find in your hearts to forgive me. But I want you to know that I love each one of you, no matter what. I've been praying for you over the years, and I will continue to do so. I have regrets in my life, but that night is the biggest one. I'm not a perfect person. Nobody is. However, I have tried the past 10 years to follow God's word and bring good into people's lives by helping those in need and by giving back to my community. I will continue to do so as much as possible for the rest of my life. I wish I had been allowed to reach out to you and to say these things and even more. But I was ordered by the court 10 years ago not to contact you directly or indirectly, and I was following my attorney's advice. I did not make statements to the media or social media. I just want you to know that this isn't because I didn't care, because I did. And I will be glad when the day comes I go to heaven and say all these things I need to say to Callie and Isabella. Thank you for your time and spend, and I love all of you, and God bless. And now I will close with an observation. As I have lived in this life, as we all have lived, we all seek justice. We have different definitions of what justice is. But when it comes to us personally, when it comes to our family, our children, we want mercy. When it comes to our shortcomings and our misgivings, we want mercy. We cry for justice, but in reality, we want mercy. And Your Honor, here I think what I have recommended as a sentence is both justice and mercy. And I think it fills both of those areas completely. And I'd ask the court to consider that and consider the things that Mr. Scott has done with his life prior to this accident, even after this accident. The things that he's done in service of others, and that should matter. That should matter. If it matters nothing else, it should matter in this case. Your Honor, we ask you, and we'll leave it in your discretion to make a decision. Thank you very much, and I will say on the record, Your Honor, this case is unlike anything I've ever done before. And I want to applaud you for the way you handled this case, and I know this was dropped in your last after you took the bench. I want to say thank you for the way you handled this case, and all of you that went with it, and all the extracurricular activity. Thank you for that. Regardless of what happens here today, that still stands true. You did a great job handling this, and it wasn't easy. And so I want to say thank you on behalf of the bar, on behalf of my office, and my clients. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Booker. As far as you doing the argument?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you may go ahead.
Thank you. Judge, as you have heard, the events of September 26, 2015 took the lives of 2 young women, destroyed the lives of 2 young men and countless others. And for what? 90 and 55, because he could. Dylan Wall has lived for 10 years being told that he was responsible for this collision. For 10 years, these victims have been vilified based on pure speculation. Speculation based on maybes, possiblies, what ifs, might haves. Maybe Dylan was intoxicated. Kylie might have been sitting in the front of the vehicle. It's possible this or that. The jury has heard all the evidence, and none of these things were proven. Their verdict speaks the truth, that if the defendant had been driving the speed limit that night, this collision wouldn't have happened. The defense has provided the court with prior sentences for serious injury or vehicular homicide cases, most of which include DUI, and have asked you to treat the defendant differently in some respects because he was not under the influence. We would argue to the contrary. The most recent Georgia Department of Public Safety Policy Manual mission statement reads, "The mission of the Georgia Department of Public Safety is to work cooperatively with all levels of government to provide a safe environment for residents and visitors to our state. In all endeavors, DPS personnel will provide the highest level of customer service while remaining committed to following our core beliefs of trust, fortitude, compassion, and professionalism." I can't imagine that the core beliefs of the State Patrol were that much different in 2015, when the defendant ignored the posted speed limit of 55 and 45-mile-per-hour warning signs of the upcoming intersection on a wet road to do what? Catch up on reports? Retrieve his radio? Coincidentally, Judge, on the way here today, I was listening to the morning news, And there was a report there that was put out by AAA based on a NHTSA study that said that drunk driving is responsible for 30% of traffic fatalities, and speeding is responsible for 29, confirming just what we already know, that speed kills. So yes, the defendant should be held to a higher standard than even the fool who drives under the influence, because he owed a duty to the citizens on his watch, the duty to honor the badge that he wore, the duty to uphold the law and not violate it. He failed at all of these the night he ended the lives of Isabella Chinchilla and Kylie Lindsay, and altered forever those of Ben Finken and Dylan Ball. During his interview for the pretrial investigation report, the defendant stated that he had wished it had been him and has wanted to apologize to the victims and their families for the past 10 years. These sentiments seem hollow in light of the fact that while the jury was deliberating during the first trial, a handwritten note was sent to the prosecutors that said the defendant would plead guilty in exchange for a dismissal of the remaining charges. And in addition, the note demanded an apology from the district attorney's office and an admission that the defendant was not responsible for the injuries and the deaths be sent to all local news agencies. A stunning lack of remorse. This was a senseless and avoidable tragedy brought on by a member of the law enforcement community in complete disregard for the tried and true protect and serve. Your Honor, our recommendation is as follows. As to count 1, serious injury, 15 years to serve in custody. As to count 2, serious injury, 15 years to serve 5 years in custody to run consecutive to count 1. Count 3, vehicular homicide, 12 months to serve consecutive to count 1. Count 5, speeding merges, as you know, with count 4, Judge. Count 6 merges with count 1, for a total recommendation of 30 years to serve 20 years in custody. Thank you.
Thank you to the state and Mr. Pilgrim. I also want to say I think there are very few things that everybody in this room agrees on, but there are a couple. It's been a long 10 years. 10 years ago, I was not even a judge. It has been a long time to get to this phase in this trial. When I scheduled this sentencing hearing, I had no idea it was the 10-year anniversary of the funerals for Ms. Chinchilla and Ms. Lindsay. And so to the family, I'm extremely sorry that I did that if it caused you any further pain. I really did not know that this was the anniversary of the actual funerals. So please accept my apologies. I think everybody agrees that 10 years was a long time to get here. And there were multiple families that were forever impacted on the night of September 26, 2015. I agree with what Mr. Pilgrim said. There are only losers here. I have never lost what the people in this courtroom lost. And I say that for all families involved. But I've never lost a child. And so to the families and friends of Ms. Chinchilla and Ms. Lindsay, I'm very sorry. Some scars never heal. And I cannot begin to imagine your emotions and your pain and your grief. I'm sincerely sorry for the loss of your girls. To Mr. Wall and Mr. Finken, I'm sorry for your injuries that you sustained. I want all of the victims to know nothing I say in this courtroom today is going to change the way that you feel. It's going to change the way that your hearts hurt when you grieve your loved one or you consider what happened that night. Nothing is going to take away the memory of that night and all of the lasting impact for anybody who experienced it. Mr. Scott had no intent to harm anyone, and the evidence was what the evidence is. And Mr. Scott was charged with crimes in the state of Georgia that did not require any malicious intent. But those actions do have consequences, and Georgia law prescribes what I'm supposed to follow in sentencing. The jury was responsible for finding the truth of the case as they found the truth of the case to be. I'm not here to retry anything, and I'm not the trier of fact. My job is to now sentence accordingly pursuant to the law, and I'm going to follow the same instructions that I gave the jury, which is to not be swayed by sympathy or prejudice or public opinion in rendering my sentence. There's been a lot said today in the courtroom about being a Christian. I am a Christian. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But I am not here to judge anybody in a religious sense. That is not my job. My job is to sentence accordingly, according to the laws of the state of Georgia, on the charges that the jury found Mr. Scott guilty of. And so, after considering all of the evidence presented to me in this pre-sentence hearing, along with all of the other evidence that I stated, and I did not include at the outset that I had reviewed the sentences in Carroll County that Mr. Pilgrim mentioned. I have reviewed those as well, so I just want to make sure that I note that. But also considering the argument and everything that has been presented, I am going to follow the recommendation of the Department of Community Supervision. Their job is to look into this, do a thorough investigation, and to report to me as the supervisors of those on probation what the appropriate sentence should be. And it was a very thorough investigation presented by Officer Holbrooks with all the attached documents. And I believe that in looking at that, as well as looking at all of the letters and things that I was provided and the sentence printout, I'll just pull it up, that was given to me by DCS for individuals serving on the same or similar charges, that what DCS has recommended is in line with those. Just to let you all know further, I reviewed every single one of these online at the Department of Corrections. I looked them up. I considered all of the charges that were there. I reviewed any past prior history that is on each one of those individuals, and some of them have longer sentences, some of them have a little bit shorter, and there are lots of things that go into play there. Every case is different, but I do find that the recommendation from Officer Holbrooks and the Department of Community Supervision is appropriate and just. So I will sentence as follows. Count 1, 10 years to serve 5. Count 2, 10 serve 5 consecutive to count 1. Count 3, 12 months to run concurrent with counts 1 and 2. Count 5 merges by operation of law with count 3. Count 6 merges by operation of law with counts 1 and 2. That is a total of 20 years to serve 10 years. There are also the general conditions of probation that will apply. In addition to the standard or general conditions of probation, I am also going to impose special conditions of probation, which means that if any of these special conditions are violated, the entire balance of probation can be revoked, even if the violation does not constitute a new criminal offense. Was there any restitution? I know there was some pretrial stipulations on things that could not be considered, but is there any restitution that anyone is aware of?
Judge, I don't believe so.
Okay, all right. Then the special conditions will be number 2, report to probation, number 4, Probation Management Act,
Judge, I apologize.
That's
May we
okay.
approach?
yes, you can. Council, so that it is cleaner and it does not split the sentence and have any issues at the Department of Corrections. I'm going to amend that sentence just a bit. It will still be a total of 20 to serve 10, but count 1 is 10 years to serve. Count 2 is 10 years to be served on probation consecutive to count 1, and the rest will remain the same. And then we don't have the splitting between serving and probation where it might get sent back. Y'all agree on that? I know you don't agree on the sentence, but do you agree that that is cleaner for purposes of Department of
No
Justice?
objection to the configuration. No.
Okay. All right, so let me go back to the special conditions. 2, report to probation. 4, Probation Management Act. 11, drug testing and admissibility. 'I believe from everything that was said here today, the victims and their families want no contact. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay, and 12, no contact with the surviving victims or any contact with any victims' family members. 15, records release. 19, curfew. That just means that probation can put in a curfew in place if it needs one at some point in time in the future. 25, provide a DNA sample. 21, surrender your driver's license. Community service, 60 days of community service. And 32, no drugs or alcohol during the term of the sentence. Any questions or issues on behalf of the state on those conditions?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, only question, Your Honor, I had asked for possible first offender is eligible, you have his criminal history. If the court wishes to do so, it's in the discretion, but I did ask.
No, sir, I'm not approving first offender.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Scott, I'm going to go over with you your appellate rights. You have a right to seek post-judgment relief from your conviction of the crimes by either making a motion for a new trial in this court and or filing an appeal to a higher appellate court. If you want to file a motion for new trial or an appeal, then you will need to file such motion or notice of appeal with the clerk of the Superior Court of Carroll County within 30 days from today's date. You may want to more fully discuss this with your attorney. If a motion for new trial is made and the court denies it, you will have 30 days from the filing of the order of the denial in which to file with the clerk of this court your notice of appeal. You have the right to have an attorney represent you on the motion for new trial and the first level of direct appellate review. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, the court will provide you an attorney and a transcript of your trial at no cost. I'm also going to advise you of your habeas statute of limitations. In a felony, usually you have a period of 4 years from the date that your sentence in this court becomes final to file a habeas corpus petition. That is 4 years from today. In a misdemeanor, usually you have a period of 1 year, or in the case of a traffic misdemeanor, 180 days from the date of your sentence in this court to when it becomes final to file any habeas corpus petition. The appellate timelines and the habeas timelines all start running today. To ensure that this conviction is tracked by me and to make sure that we have timely hearings on any motions that are filed, I have prepared a post-trial scheduling order. And the post-trial scheduling order, I have signed it, I'll give it to the clerk to file. The transcript deadline is 120 days after sentencing, so 120 days after today is January 29th, 2026. Our court reporter files the transcripts online through Peach Court, and they get served to the attorneys of record on Peach Court. And so they can be pulled from the Peach Court filing. If you do not have a Peach Court username or password, then the clerk's office can help you. Is Mr. William here? He just left. Or I'll ask Ms. Hilton, if they don't have, if the ADAs don't have Peach Court, you can help them, and the clerk's office can help them getting copies of the transcript.
Of course.
Okay, so
I
we
have an
can.
account.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. And then I am also scheduling a status motion hearing on February 11th, 2026 at 9 a.m. That is not to address the motion for new trial. It is to address any issues with the transcript, any deadlines for a particularized motion for new trial to be filed, and to go ahead and special set that hearing date because I normally cannot hear those on the same day as a regular non-jury. So the status scheduling will be on February 11th, 2026. Mr. Scott, I just previously gave you your rights to have an attorney represent you on any filed motion for new trial and first level direct appellate review. I am going to make sure that you get a copy of this order along with a application for the services of the West Georgia Judicial Circuit Public Defender's Office. It will be attached to your copy of the order. That is a new thing that we're doing now in our circuit to make sure that nobody falls through the cracks and everybody has representation if they need it. You can talk to Mr. Pilgrim about that in more detail.
Your Honor, we completed the application yesterday to the public defenders. We filed a motion to trial this morning.
Okay.
That's all we decided.
Okay, all right. Thank you for telling me that. And then this order will also go to the to Ms. Mary Ellen Simmons, who is the director of the Circuit Public Defender's Office. And so my office will just tell her that you have already filled out that application and that this is the order that would go along with that. I believe we addressed the evidence at the end of the trial. The evidence went with the court reporter, and she'll scan everything in that needs to be in the transcript. Again, once she finishes with that and files the transcript, all of the evidence will be given to the clerk's office and be held with the file. Once the sentence, is it ready?
How many hours of
60 days.
60 days. And Courtroom is going to run and run until the
Yes. All right, so once the sentence is printed, I'll sign the sentence, I'll return it to the clerk for filing, and then the probation will get that and go over the sentence, Mr. Pilgrim with you.
Thank you.
All right, does the state have anything to address?
No, Your Honor.
Does the defense have anything to address?
No, Your Honor, not this time.
All right, Madam Clerk, anything to address?
Thanks, sir.
All right, and probation, anything that you'd like to address? All right. The deputies are here, again, for safety and to maintain order. Again, I understand this is a very emotionally charged case. I'm going to ask that the deputies tell which side of the courtroom to leave first. It does not matter to me. I'll let y'all handle that. Please follow all the instructions from the deputies and make sure that everyone exits the courtroom and the courthouse peacefully so that we don't have any issues. I appreciate all of you being here today. I appreciate everyone who stepped forward and gave a statement, and I appreciate the attorneys in this case working together, at least during my involvement, and working together in an ethical way in how you presented your case. So thank you. We are adjourned.
Okay.